Beware the stare of Mary Shaw. She had no children, only dolls. And if you see her in your dreams, never, ever scream.
All right, everybody, just wanted to introduce you to the newest member of the manor. This here is Mina Lanchester Barker, of course named after Mina Harker from Dracula, and her middle name, of course, being for the Bride of Frankenstein herself, Elsa Lanchester. Mina's been here with us for about, I guess, 9 weeks now, and been an absolute perfect addition here. And this year is going to be her very first Halloween ever. So we are actually all excited about that. So just wanted to introduce everybody to Miss Mina here, who doesn't want to be on camera.
Hey everybody, how you guys doing there today? Welcome back to another episode of Halloween at the Manor. Well, I'm going to start off by saying that I apologize that it has taken me this long to do a project video this year. I'm going to be honest with you, last year's Halloween completely burned me out. I haven't really had any motivation to do anything Halloween related as far as projects go. So I thought kind of to reignite the fire here, that I would do this project that I've been wanting to do for a couple years now, the Obelisk Tombstone. And another thing too is that Vanessa and I are big fans of the movie Dead Silence, and if you've never seen this movie, you definitely want to check it out. It came out in 2007. But we've seen the movie many times. We were watching it recently, and we're like, why don't we have any like tombstone or anything in our yard that, you know, represents Mary Shaw and Dead Silence? So what we're going to do is, with this obelisk tombstone, we're going to kind of dedicate it to her. So her name will be on the epitaph, and then we're going to try to put the poem on there as well. But anyway, why don't we go ahead and get started with this? I'm hoping you guys enjoy this one. I will try my best to kind of lay out the measurements of things, so that if you guys wanted to try to build one of these yourself, you'll kind of have the measurements to do that. So why don't we go ahead and let's get started on this one.
The first thing I'm going to do is build the base. I'm going to use some old 2x12 pressure treated wood I had lying around. The base is going to be 20 inches by 20 inches. I cut two pieces at 20 inches. These will be the front and back of the base, and the other two pieces are cut at 17 inches. These will be the sides. I'm going to attach the four sides together using 3-inch decking screws. Now that we have our base, the next thing I'm going to do is run some 2x2-inch furring strips along the bottom of the base as a trim. Each piece is 23 inches long, and I cut all the ends at a 45-degree angle to make it look cleaner. The next thing I decided to do was add some 5mm plywood to cover the top of the base. I also added some 5mm plywood on the sides as well to cover up the seams from where I connected the two different sizes of the 2x12-inch wood on the base. This was just to make it look cleaner. To give the base a more monument-style look, I added some 1x1-inch furring strips I had lying around from last year to the top of the base. Again, these are 23 inches long, and the ends are cut at a 45-degree angle. I also added a 2-foot by 2-foot piece of 3/4-inch plywood to the top of the base, and then on top of that, I added another piece of 3/4-inch plywood cut at 21 inches by 21 inches. Again, just trying to give the base that monument-style look with various degrees of levels. At this point, I think the base is in good shape. I may add some things later on, but now we can start working on the column piece of the obelisk. For the column part of the obelisk, I'm going to make this the same way I would make one of our cemetery columns. I got this sheet of 5mm plywood at Lowe's. It's called Revolution Ply by Patriot Timber Products. It will usually run you about $28 for a 4-foot by 8-foot sheet. I'm going to cut this plywood into 4 1-foot by 4-foot pieces. Once I have those cut out, I'm going to start framing around the edges of the plywood with some 2x2-inch furring strips. I'm going to make 2 of these. Once the framing is done, we will connect the 2 sides with the 2 other 1 foot by 4 foot sections of plywood we cut out. Basically, we are making one long 1 foot by 1 foot box. Now, I'm still not 100% sure what I want my design to be, so I decided to use what I had left of the 2 by 12 inch wood. I cut the pieces in half, which basically made them 2 by 6 inch pieces of wood. I took those pieces and used them as trim around the bottom of the column. The front pieces are cut at 15 inches and the side pieces at 12 inches. The next thing we can work on is the pyramid piece that will go on top of the obelisk. For the pyramid piece, I used the 5mm plywood and cut out 4 triangles. They measure 13.5 inches long and 12 inches high. I started off using some black Gorilla Tape to keep the pieces together. On the inside, I used a combination of Gorilla Tape, a small piece of 2-inch furring strip, and an entire can of Loctite foam to get everything to stick together. That seemed to do the trick. When I took the Gorilla Tape off the front of the pyramid, the sides stayed in place. I then took the pyramid and connected it to some 2x2-inch furring strips I used around the top of the column as trim. I just used some 1-inch screws to connect it. For my design, I bought a piece of 1/2-inch plywood from Home Depot and cut out some Gothic style shapes. The front has a wider opening because that's where the Mary Shaw epitaph and poem are going to go. On the sides and back of the obelisk, I stuck with that same Gothic looking shape. I decided to keep the design kind of simple. I did end up adding some additional trim on the bottom of the column and base, just trying to give it a more intricate design. I added some 1/2-inch plywood cut at 1.5 inches wide on the column, and on the base I cut the trim at 2.5 inches wide. I liked the panel style box look. I did use my Dremel to create the Mary Shaw epitaph and poem as well. Honestly, I'm not 100% happy with it, but it is what it is. I finished off the obelisk by sanding the whole thing down and used some all-purpose caulk to cover up the seams and screw holes. At Home Depot in their Whoops section, I found this paint for $9. It's a brick stucco paint, which I guess might be more durable than regular exterior paint, and it had a gray shade to it. If you guys ever need paint for one of your projects, go to Home Depot and check behind their paint desk. They have this Whoops section, and they always have some sort of shade of gray in there. And again, you can get it for like $9. It's like super cheap. So I ended up painting the entire obelisk with this paint to start. Once that dried, inside the boxes and Gothic shapes, I added a mixture of gray and black acrylic paint to give the obelisk a two-tone look. Once that dried, I started to sponge on some white paint to make the surface look more like stone. Now, this can be a lengthy process until you get the color you want. I did end up sponging on some gray paint to lighten up the white a bit. Again, you just kind of have to play around with it till you get the color you want. The final thing I decided to do is to make the stone look more weathered. I sponged on a combination of brown, forest green, and what I'll call Grinch green paint to give the stone a mossy mildew look. When I got to where I was happy with it, I took a spray bottle of black paint mixed with water and sprayed it over the stone to give it a dripping effect. You can go as heavy or as light as you want. It's all personal preference. So that's how I built our obelisk. You can make yours any way you want. You don't have to use wood. You can use sheets of insulation foam or other materials. It's totally up to you. You can make the design whatever you want. You don't have to do exactly what we did. Again, it's 100% up to you. I am curious to see how this is going to look in our graveyard. We even talked about getting the Trick or Treat Studios Billy puppet and have him sit up against the stone on Halloween night. That's got to freak somebody out, I would think. So maybe we'll go ahead and do that. But anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Let us know in the comment section what you guys think. If you have any questions, just ask and I'll try my best to help out. I really want to thank you guys for watching. We greatly appreciate it. Hope you guys have a great rest of your day. And remember, never, ever scream. Take care, guys. Bye.